Hey guys, I'm Richard, this is Grey Wizard Gaming, this is my friend Steven,
Hello.
and we just finished a game of I guess this is a pre-production version of Cthulhu Wars Duel. The actual game is going to be out on Kickstarter today. The link should be down below. Go ahead and check it out if you want to get in on this game. We just finished the game and it was a heck of a lot of fun. I had so many ones, it really made me kind of sad, but it probably is average anyways. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which puts me up to 35. And then that triggers the end of the game.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about how is this different or the same versus Cthulhu Wars, and just our general feelings on the game as a whole. And that's pretty much it. This is going to be all the information you need to know about Cthulhu Wars Duel, minus the endless amount of information that'll probably be on the Kickstarter. Actually, they probably have all the information you need, but I'm glad you're here with us because this was super fun. So let's kind of just talk about what is the game itself before we talk about our opinions about the game.
Okay.
So effectively, this is almost a travel edition of Cthulhu Wars. It's a very small board. I don't know, excessively small, but I would say this is like a normal board game size as opposed to excessive, massive, mega table big size like normal Cthulhu Wars. Everything you need is kind of on here. There's no separate trays for Ritual of Annihilation. There's no separate tray for the Doom counter. There's no minis. Instead, you have these very beautifully rendered two-dimensional minis. So this is Shub-Niggurath. This is Cthulhu. We've got some fun guys over here.
Fun guys.
Got some deep ones. I was telling Steven, I actually kind of like them almost more. I really like the art they did on these. It feels really solid. I just feel like these are very good interpretations of the monsters. Because I'm too lazy to paint mine, this is probably the best I'm gonna get.
And with this you get, because you got the detail on there that you don't get with the plastic minis. If you've never seen Cthulhu or read any Lovecraftian, you might get a better image of what is supposed to be represented.
I definitely feel like the ghouls are so much more monstrous than they... Here?
I can't. There's
Too much glare? Too much glare?
Too much glare.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to show you the ghouls, but there's too much glare. There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. I feel like the ghouls are they're more monstrous. Like, look at them. They look like really cool. They got like slathering tongues and everything.
It almost looks like a werewolf kind of, with less hair, crouched over and on its quads.
Yeah. Yeah. They're basically just sacrificial lambs. So at least here they look a little bit cooler before you sacrifice them.
That's all I did with them.
Yeah, so that's all you do. All right, the cultists are stackable. That's kind of cool. Again, this is like travel edition of Cthulhu Wars, which is pretty cool. Everything's smaller. It's going to take up a lot less space. And what this ultimately means is that you can do one of those cool things where you get a train and go somewhere and just play a bunch of board games. I wish we had travel trains.
I wish there were more trains in the United States for sure.
Yeah. You can do that because it's so small. It's going to be able to be something you can pack and take on a plane and fly to, the Caribbean or something. And instead of spending time on the beach, play Cthulhu Wars or Cthulhu
Play
Wars
it on the beach.
Play it on the beach, yeah.
You know.
So that's the core of it. You're going to really feel like you're playing Cthulhu Wars. This is also a game optimized for 2 players, as opposed to a game that's probably better at 4 or above players. You are, for the most part, it is identical. It's just the same rules that are normally there, but why does it play better with 2 players here? Mostly because In this version of the game, when you somehow cause the other person to lose a unit, you gain doom equal to the average of the power cost of the unit you killed. And the average power cost means that, like Cthulhu could cost 10 or he could cost 4. So he instead has an average of 7. So that's how much doom that Stephen got when he killed Cthulhu. Likewise, Shub-Niggurath makes everything cheaper, so all of Black Goat's units give a little bit less power, except cultists and Shub-Niggurath. So that means that combat pushes the game towards ending. Now, you do not get doom for just controlling gates. You do for Rituals of Annihilation, same as normal. But normally, at the end of a round in Cthulhu Wars, you're going to gain 1 doom per gate you control. In this version, you do not. You only get doom either from killing things, from Rituals of Annihilation, or from Elder Signs. Other than that, what is another significant change?
I think you covered most of it. Did we talk about the Decay?
Decay is huge, guys.
It's game changer.
It's game changing. I love it. Actually, I really love it. I would love to see how it would work in normal Cthulhu Wars. So Decay is this little token, and the way it works is every round, Decay starts at 0. When you run out of power and you were to take an action, obviously you're out of power, so you can't take an action, but instead you move the Decay token up 1. So the way this effectively works is normally Black Goat has an advantage from the way that they sacrifice so many units, and then they're so cheap. So normally how it works is in normal Cthulhu Wars, you say, I'm going to summon one ghoul. And that's your action. And then the other person has to spend power. And then you're like, well, I'm going to summon another ghoul for 0 power. And then that's their action. And then finally, at the end of the round, Black Goat has this huge pile of power. And the other player is out of turns. So then Black Goat's like, oh, I take this gate, I take this gate, I take this gate. And that's kind of why I often feel like Black Goat can feel a little unfair if the other players aren't ready for it. But here, the way it's going to work is Black Goat ends up with like 6 power. And then Cthulhu says, well, I have 0 power, so Decay goes up by 1. Well, now Black Goat says, oh, I'm going to summon a ghoul that normally would cost 0, but instead it costs 1. So then Cthulhu says, oh, well, I'm going to do nothing. So Decay goes up by 1. And now it's like, oh, well, I'm going to move a unit, which normally costs 1, but now it costs 3, right? Whatever Decay is at, you just add to every action. So it's going to force Black Goat to run out of power almost immediately. I mean, it's going to be real fast. It means the game's shorter. It also means that you have to constantly gauge how much power until the other person runs out of power. Not because you're so happy that you're going to get all these actions. Instead, it becomes this thing where you're like, well, I better spend my power quick because otherwise my efficiency is going to go down real fast.
I definitely felt like, because I play Black Goat in Cthulhu Wars, I definitely felt like there were less swarming opportunities than in Cthulhu Wars because of the Decay mechanic. Because it did really force me to try to, if I wanted to do those things, I needed to do them early rather than hold off like I would in Cthulhu Wars, where you just kind of drag a little bit and, like you say, have that reservoir of power. Well, now when you're holding off and getting that reservoir of power, you just can't use it all anymore because of the Decay mechanic, which really speeds the game up and definitely makes this more of a balanced faction, I think, than in Cthulhu Wars. So,
but how happy were you when I pointed out Fertility Cult?
Oh yes. Once I learned the unique ability that I had forgotten about, it definitely helped my gameplay a little bit. And I really liked the one Decay time where you were trying to do something, and I prevented Cthulhu from submerging. You were going to submerge and come out up, and I knew he went under the water, but he couldn't come back up until the next round because I prevented it. So that helped extend it a little bit for me, which was nice.
So typically, Cthulhu will use his power, which is called Immortal. It's an ongoing power, and basically Cthulhu gets cheap, and also you get an Elder Sign every time you summon Cthulhu. So I try to position Cthulhu to die every round, and I summon him every round. So I'm using Immortal the entire game to get these Elder Signs. I just had piles of Elder Signs. Meanwhile, in normal Cthulhu Wars, Black Goat will use Fertility Cult maybe once per game. Maybe. Oftentimes, never. Because there's so much advantage to dragging your feet.
Right.
But here, suddenly Fertility Cult was very powerful. It's amazing how basically those two things, the getting doom from battle, not getting doom from just sitting there, and the decay marker changes everything. And I think in a good way. We played 2 games.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
In a relatively short amount of time, and that would not happen with Cthulhu.
No. Be another 6 hours.
Sandy Peterson games are very well balanced for time. Yeah. Like, they're very consistent, but it's consistent per number of players. So Cthulhu Wars is just a longer game because...
Well, if you have new players, which usually you do.
Yeah,
almost every time, so...
I don't know why that is, but
it's because you bring in new players in like groups because it's hard to get a consistent group of 4 to 6 players or something.
I have a consistent group, but yet somehow if I play Cthulhu Wars, it's somebody that's gonna be like, no, big giant minis, I'm in. I want to play.
I'm always game.
There you go. This is Cthulhu Wars Duel. Definitely go check out. We did record the gameplay video. It's pretty simple. I didn't do a lot of fancy overlap times, but Kat did record some of their perspectives. So definitely go over there, check it out. And by all means, give some final words about your opinion. What do you think about this game? I
really like it. I like that it's smaller and compact than Cthulhu Wars, that you can, like you said, easily travel with it. Also the other good thing about this is because it's not those full-fledged miniatures, it's going to lower the MSRP on this, right? So it's going to be a cheaper game for people to buy. So when you lower the point of entry, the cost of entry, you expand your base. So more people are going to be playing games like this. And I love Lovecraftian horror, so spreading that out to more people is just a win-win for me.
I actually think that's a very interesting perspective because I don't really have a budget on games.
Right. But right now, a lot of people do.
A lot of people do. And something that I am very aware, the reason why I've given out so many copies of Cthulhu Wars as my giveaway of choice on this channel is because I feel like a lot of people will never get to experience the game if somehow they don't magically get a copy of the game in their hands.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why I give out copies of the game. And here, you're right. There's going to be a whole heck of a lot more people who have wanted to play. This is a legit, real Cthulhu Wars experience. In some ways, better. I mean, if it's obviously you don't have 4 players, 6 players, 8 players, whatever. But for 2 players, this is the best version of Cthulhu Wars you can play.
Oh, for sure.
And it is going to be a much more reasonable price point, which is going to spread the good word of the Cthulhu Wars cults. I actually realize that it is kind of a cult. We're constantly trying to push the game on new players. So yeah, definitely Peterson Games, thank you so much for sending this over and allowing us to have a first kind of look at the game. I am super excited. I can't wait to back the game myself, and probably any expansions, everything that you're offering. I want to see what else is out there. I don't have any secret info. You're getting the info. Well, I got it a little bit earlier, but
they do talk about. So this is what we have in front of us.
Yeah.
But in the book, they do talk about the other factions and some of They mentioned some of the abilities and stuff in there, so they've already got that fleshed
Yeah.
out. So we'll see like what's available in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you.
Thank you, people. Definitely check out the Kickstarter down below and check out our gameplay video, which will be linked, released same day. So, all right, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.